Sirens, alarms, and horns are a big thing in our lives now because sirens will tell us when things are coming, such as a fire, just so you can get your people out, or a tornado when it's coming to your house or your town to help till you get shelter. But how do these sounds get to us? How are we understanding that there's a tornado coming? Well, the speakers are what produce this sound. They tell us that, oh, things are coming. I'm going to look at the basic design of a speaker, how they operate, and why we use different speakers to produce different sounds. The first thing we need to understand is the basic design of a speaker. We'll start with a simple subwoofer. This has three main parts. You're going to have your permanent magnet on the bottom, an electromagnet that is fitted into a gap within the permanent magnet, and a cone on the outside, which is attached to the electromagnet. That's one type of speaker. We have another type of speaker for high frequency. We have this part called the driver. There's a permanent magnet, and the electromagnet is in here. The electromagnet for that looks like this. It's called the diaphragm. And this is where the signal comes into. And this, and then you have the horn, which actually projects the sound out. Now that we know the design of a speaker, we're going to need to know how it operates. How do these parts go together in order to form sound? So, to start with that, we're going to need to understand sound. If we look at this, it comes in with AC current, meaning alternating current. This means it'll go positive, then negative, then positive, then negative. How this affects actual sound is pretty simple. We know with magnets opposite attract and alike attract, or alike repel. So we have a permanent magnet on the base here and an electromagnet here. The signal will come in through here. These are called leads. And you have a positive and a negative. The alternating current will change the charge on this electromagnet, making it go up and down, because this is positively charged and will always be positively charged. So when a negative is in here, it will attract and go down, which will compress this cone because they are attached. When it's positive, it will go out because it repels. The same thing happens with the driver for the high frequency horn, except with this, the electromagnet is in the bottom, and these are your two leads. And this little thing right here, this little dome, will go in and out, in and out. This is the coil that fits into the gap of that permanent magnet. So this will have to go up or down base, and as you can see, it's connected to that dome, making the sound. With a high frequency driver, is a little different than a subwoofer. The sound is then condensed into this short little hole. As it goes out, this screws onto the back of here, like so, and from here it will be put into the tube, into this middle tube. What you don't know is in the middle of this tube, there's another tube. So how it works is the sound will go in through this middle tube, back out and around into the bigger tube, and then it will radiate out from the horn itself. Then we need to know why have two different types of speakers? Why do we need a high frequency and why do we need a low frequency? Well, it's pretty simple. For this, we'll look back at the sound. High frequency means that there's less time between peak to peak. It means it will go a lot faster back and forth. But in turn, it'll have less amplitude. The amplitude is how far that cone is going to go in or out, or oscillate. So on a high frequency driver, it's a lot less dense and lighter than the other one, so it's going to take a lot less energy to move. But it can't go as far like high frequency. But it can go a lot quicker because it takes a lot less energy to move this lighter material. When we look back at low frequencies, while it takes a lot longer to go from peak to peak, there's a lot bigger amplitude, meaning it takes a lot more energy to push this out. This being the low frequency driver, this can move a lot more, but it's a lot more to move because A, it's more dense and heavier, and it has more surface area, so it's going to push more air. So when you use a low frequency driver, you're going to hear these loud booms. That's what shakes your house and shakes your cars as you're driving down the road. This is because they have a lot more energy, they can do a lot more work. But they can't go as far because the air will dampen them so quick because they're so full of energy. When you look at high frequency, and you'll see these at fairs, and like your average tornado siren has one of these. This is because the sound projects a lot more and goes a lot further because it's a lot less energy. Sound is a vital thing. You have sirens, horns, and alarms, which are huge in everybody's lives. And so we looked at how it was designed, how the basic parts of a speaker, how the speaker will transmit the actual sound to you and to people around you to warn them, and why we have two different speakers, why we need two different types. So next time you're laying in bed and you hear that fire alarm go off, and you're thankful you got out of the house before the fire happened, think about, this is how the sound is produced, and this is what saved our lives.